Today, let's start in a thoracic back bend. So I'm going to give you a couple of options depending upon how tight you're feeling in your upper body. For those of you that know, feeling a little tense, a little tight, you're going to grab a blanket or your mat. You're going to give it a nice little roll. So the thicker the roll, the more intense this is going to be. So you can always back off. We've done this many times. So we're going to lay over this. So this roll up is going to hit like the bottom of the shoulder blades, bottom of the bra strap area. So tops of the shoulder blades are going to be resting above this roll up, this blanket. And then you can bring your arms out in a T shape, and then you're going to see what feels good with your legs. So sometimes a lot of us carry a little tension in the lumbar, the lower back area too. So having the legs extended straight feels a little uncomfortable. If that's you, you're just gonna take your feet wide, allow your knees to knock in. So if you're in the camp where you're feeling a little more open in your thoracic across the pectorals, the chest, you could also do a deeper version. So if you have a couple of blocks handy, I recommend the low or the medium height for your lower block, and then you're going to have a block to rest your head on. And the same concept. So this block is kind of, the top of it is hitting the bottom of the shoulder blades, the tops of the shoulder blades release over. So you get this nice thoracic opening. It's this modified fish pose. And again, legs can be extended straight here, or you can have your knees bent, feet wide, knocking in towards each other. And you might need to take just a moment to fidget around. So there's definitely some intensity here. There's definitely some stretch happening. However, you don't want it so uncomfortable that you can't be here and start to find that rhythm of your breath. All right, so let's go ahead and take a nice deep inhale here together. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. A couple more times like that. So kind of get the Mondays out of your system so far. Get the to-do list out of your system. And eventually, as you feel ready, you're going to start to find that inhale through your nose and that exhale through your nose. You're going to begin to create that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. Sounds like ocean waves rolling in and out. And really allow yourself to just soak up that sound. Really allow that sound of your breath to help quiet and focus the mind. Use your breath to help completely relax the body. Maybe you're starting to feel a little more opening in the front chest. Perhaps observe if your shoulders are gripping or scrunching up towards your ears. Just soften them down. A couple more good breaths here. Good. As you inhale, so take your arms out wide like you're making snow angels. Stretch up overhead. Any amount, and then as you exhale, just release your arms by your side. And let's just do that a few times. So inhale, lift. And you can reach your arms up off the floor a little bit. That's absolutely fine. Exhale, just releasing by your side. Stretching up over your head on the inhale. Exhale, release. And then this time, let's inhale, reach up overhead. Interlace your fingers so your arms are lifting a little bit. And then start to press your palms to face back behind you, wrapping your inner arm towards your outer arm. As you inhale, your chest is lifting towards your chin. Good, we're gonna exhale, release arms by the side, and then we're gonna move this roll up out of the way, or your blocks out of the way. So if you're on the roll up, it's probably easiest to roll off to one side, then just slide that blanket out. You can do that with the blocks as well. It also might feel better to press into hands and forearms and come on up and just move stuff out of the way. All right, so we're return to our back here. We're gonna reach the arms up overhead. We're gonna bring our legs together, so legs extend to straight. And I want you to find mountain pose here, Tadasana. So Utthita Hastasana in Tadasana, the supine version. You're pressing into the center of your heels. Your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling, lengthening through the sides of your waist. You might have your arms about shoulders distance apart, maybe even a little wider. So seeing how tall you can get. And then let's do a little crescent twist here, or lateral stretch. So bring your left fingertips to your right palm. Good, and then start to inchworm your upper body off to the left. So make sure that those hip plates underneath you are still pressing evenly, and then do the same thing with your feet. Just inchworm them off to the left. And then you should be feeling this pretty gorgeous stretch here through the right side of your body. And just be gazing straight up at your ceiling here, maybe rolling towards that right cheek, right upper arm. You can also intensify this by taking that right ankle over your left ankle, listening to your breath. Good, so there is contact with the back of your body into the mat. You're not lifting that right side up. All right, go ahead and uncross your right ankle, and then you're just gonna walk your feet back to center. And then you're gonna wiggle your upper body back to center. Stretch out again, so find that extended supine mountain pose. And then start to point your feet forward to feel that stretch through the front of the leg. I love this one so much. I think it's a good thing to do. Kind of don't move our feet this way that often. And you can actually feel quite a bit here, especially depending upon what you might have done this weekend. All right. So pretend that you're standing on your feet again. So the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling, and we go the opposite side. So you're gonna hold on to your left wrist with your right fingers, inchworm your upper body to the right, any amount. This side might feel different. Make sure that this left hip plate underneath you is still pressing evenly. And then do the same thing with your feet. Take them off to the right. Oh, that feels good. So feeling this nice lateral side stretch through the left. Make sure that your shoulders aren't creeping up to your ears. Just soften them down. Breath smooth and steady. And then let's take that left ankle over your right. If that feels okay in your body, if you're getting enough sensation, you just stay right where you're at. Breath smooth. Using the exhale especially to help you release any places that are feeling a little tight, a little tender here. And then if you cross that left ankle, uncross, walk feet back to center. Wiggle your upper body back to center. Stretch out, let's point the toes again. So pointing forward, feeling the stretch through the top of the leg. Good, inhale, they point up towards the ceiling. Good, let's just do that. Exhale, toes point forward. Inhale, move in the opposite direction. Good. Pointing forward and then up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, release arms by your side. Give your knees a nice little squeeze into your chest. You can rock a little bit from side to side here, just massaging out that lower back. And then from here, we're gonna make our way to our tabletop position. You can roll off to one side or the other. If it feels okay in your spine today, you can start to rock forward and back, which can sometimes feel like a nice little massage. It can also sometimes not feel good. If you're in the this doesn't feel good camp, you skip it. So Not trying to torture ourselves unnecessarily here in our yoga practice. All right, so when you land in your tabletop position, right away just start to move into your cat-cow. So you've got your shoulders over your wrists, knees underneath your hips. Hi, Joey, I'm so glad you're doing yoga today. As you inhale, chest extends forward and up. Good, as you exhale, press the mat away, round in. Can you firm the tops of your feet, your shins into the mat as you do this? Inhale, lengthen, arching. There you are, buddy. Nice to see you. Oh, I'm waving at my camera and not at my phone and not at the camera. Hi. Moving, just continuing with your breath. You guys all thought that I had eyes in the back of my head, but I actually have my phone set up here too so I can see things. So it's not like I have yogi superpowers in case you were worried. All right, a few more rounds like this. Oh, just letting it feel really good. Kind of just doesn't feel like yoga if you don't get a little cat-cow into the mix. All right, so on your next inhale, come back to neutral spine. I'm gonna get into the shoulders and the neck a little bit. So we're gonna do our thread the eye of the needle. So rooting down into your right palm, you're gonna take this left arm behind that wrist. You're gonna lower onto your left shoulder and ear. This can be very intense. So if this isn't feeling good on that shoulder or neck, give yourself a little support. So block underneath the head can feel really good. Maybe you just need a blanket, but do modify if you need. And then let's walk our right hand forward. So just think of that arm as being in downward facing dog. Press down into that right palm. As you anchor there, start to spin your left ribs to the right. And then go ahead and extend right hand off to the right. So fingertips, wrists perpendicular to that shoulder. And then maybe you stay like this, or maybe you start to lift that right arm up off the floor. Yeah, nice work. Good. Lean that right shoulder, head back. And then maybe externally rotate. So spin that palm to face behind you. Bend the elbow. You can grab a piece of pants on that lower left side, piece of shirt. Maybe you can get your fingertips to the inside of your left thigh. You're just looking for a little leverage to press this right shoulder, head back, and get that opening, that stretch across the heart and chest. So not unlike the thoracic opening that we did. We're just kind of doing it in a little twist here. Few good breaths. If you're in the wrap, go ahead and inhale, stretch your right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Nice work. As you exhale, unwind, find that tabletop. All right, second side, which could feel entirely different, so be open to the possibility of using a prop if you need to. Rooting into this left palm, thread this right arm underneath, and then come onto the shoulder, come onto your right ear. And then let's walk our left hand forward. So think of that hand as being in downward facing dog. So the forearms are really firming up off the mat. You're gently spreading fingers. You're feeling the upper arm engage. And then as you root down into all 10 or 5 knuckles rather, in that left hand, could you spin your right ribs up towards the ceiling a little more? And then just start to extend left hand off to the left. So kind of making a half T shape there. Stay here like this, or maybe lift those left fingertips up off the floor. And then spin that palm to face behind you. Reach around, grab a piece of shirt, piece of pants, maybe fingertips to the inside of that right thigh. Just finding some leverage so you can press your left shoulder, head back. This gets intense, so keep the breath moving. Use your breath to help you stay in this pose. And then we're going to inhale, stretch that left arm back up. So just releasing the wrap. And then as you exhale, come back to your tabletop. Couple more rounds of cat-cow, just letting that go. Inhale, arch in your lumbar. Exhale, round and really let the back of your neck lengthen. Inhaling, arching. Good, exhaling, rounding in. Just do 2 more rounds at your pace. Good, inhale, come back to neutral spine. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches. So giving ourselves a little more space. So shoulders are no longer landing over the wrists. Pull your lower belly in and up. Feel the outer hips squeeze in towards each other. Shift forward so shoulders come over your wrists. As you exhale, bend the elbows an inch, 2, no more than halfway. Inhale, press up. So it's like a little mini chaturanga. Exhale, lower. Nice work. Inhale, press up. Exhale, lower. Good. Inhale, press up. All right, exhale, we lower. Keep breathing here. Couple of breaths. Hold. Look forward so the back of your neck is nice and long. Nice. And then as you exhale, land on your belly in one piece. So tops of the feet press. All right, we're going to bring our arms by our side. So thumbs face down towards the floor. You can rest on your forehead, but have your shoulder heads lifting up off the mat. As you do that, you can start to squeeze the shoulder blades in towards each other. Root down into all 10 toenails. Engage the legs here. So feel that inner thigh start to spiral up towards the ceiling. And then as we inhale, legs keep anchoring, but we start to lift our head and chest forward and up. You can lift your arms up a little higher. Generating this movement from the lower back. So these, anytime we come onto our belly here, these back bends that we're doing are so healthy for the spine. They help to build a lot of strength and also ease. It takes a while to get there sometimes. This can be very intense, especially if you're newer to this. When we're deep, inhale. Exhale, lower down. So you stick with that variation. If you'd like to get into the shoulders a little more and it's available to you, interlace your fingers at the small of your back. So your palms are facing in towards each other. And if that's not happening, but you want to intensify things a little bit, you could also use a strap or a belt. Hold on to that instead of interlacing. All right, so as we inhale, same thing, either reaching back through fingers. If your fingers are interlaced, you're dragging your knuckles towards your heels. If you've got your strap, you're holding on and you're kind of pulling outwards as you lift the shoulder heads up. Breath smooth and steady. Gaze just soft and gentle in front of you. So front of the neck is long, back of the neck is long. When we're deep, inhale, maybe lift a little higher. Exhale, lower down. If you interlaced your fingers, go ahead and change the crossing. So palms still face towards each other. You just shift everything over one. So the opposite thumb and index come on top. And here we go. So this time, as you inhale, maybe lift your feet up as well. If you go there and it doesn't feel good, place them back down on the mat. And just notice for you, is it easier to lift the top half of the body, or is it easier to lift the legs, the lower half of the body? Not trying to change it, but just observing. One more deep inhale. Exhale, lower down. And then bringing your fingertips underneath your shoulder heads. Squeeze the elbows in towards the midline. Again, you're finding that little lifting of the shoulder heads up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, chest extends forward and up. Good, exhale, lower. So we're basically doing the same thing. Our arms aren't getting terribly involved here. Instead, we're using the muscles in our back. Inhaling, lift. Exhale, lower, little vinyasa. Inhale. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, holding here. And then if you're feeling warm, if it's part of your practice, drag your hands back so wrists under elbows. Press into your hands. pressed into the tops of your feet on your next inhale, upward facing dog, shoulder heads pressed back. If your shins, knees, thighs are touching down on the floor, it means you're probably not quite ready for this pose. So you would come back down to your low cobra. Otherwise, legs are super engaged. They're active. That's going to help to protect those muscles in the lower back. Gaze just soft and gentle in front of you. And then if you're in your upward dog, you're going to just roll over your toes, pull back, downward dog. If you are in your low cobra, you can press to your tabletop and then make your way to your downward dog. And then go ahead and just take a moment. Find a little movement here. Just see what your body's needing. I always love to flip onto the top of one foot, then the other. Again, it's just kind of that same, it's the more intense version of pointing your toes forward when we were laying on our back. We spent all of our time on the soles of the feet, so it's kind of just nice to do a little something different. All right, from here, we're going to start to walk our hands back to meet our feet. We're going to do a little of our standing cobra. So feet, hips distance apart. Bring your hands to your shins or thighs. Press into them. Make sure that all your weight is not in your heels though. So feeling pretty evenly distributed on your feet. As you inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Ardha Uttanasana. Good. As you exhale, you hinge forward, fold back in. If you like that, inhale, lengthen. You're making an L shape. As you exhale, fold. Couple more, inhale, lengthen into Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold in. Make sure that you're letting the back of your neck release down. One more, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Stretch your arms out wide as you inhale. Reach arms out and up overhead. Extended mountain pose, the classic version, the standing version. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. All right, beautiful work, everybody. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, fold in, really letting the back of your neck lengthen down, nice kneel. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold. Pressing down to rise up. Feeling really fluid, really graceful here. These look so good, everybody. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhale, reach, Utthita Hastasana into Tadasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold in. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. We have 3 more of these. So you're just going to move with your breath. Take your time. You can close your eyes as you do these. There's absolutely no hurry. For a lot of us, as we start to move into these sun salutes, so we're connecting movement with breath. This is kind of when we start to find that sweet spot, that quiet place in our yoga practice. Begins to feel a little bit like a moving meditation. It also just feels really good to kind of send the breath to all the places in the body. It feels really good to take up space and move the body. And just notice how you're feeling. And hopefully enjoy how you're feeling here. Even if you're still just warming things up. And there's absolutely no rush. When you're done with your 3rd round, just stand in your mountain pose, palms together at your heart. And you can gaze down at your fingertips or maybe close your eyes. Just take a moment here. Maybe even set an intention for the rest of the day, the rest of the week ahead. Or maybe think of a quality that you want to draw into this week. So kind of whatever just pops into your head, just be with that. Good. And then just blink your eyes open, release your arms by your side. Let's get into the shoulders a little more. So if you have a strap, go ahead and use it. Again, you could use a hand towel, a sweatshirt, scarf, a belt. So let's find our Tadasana pose, feet hips distance apart, second and third toe pointing forward. Let's take the strap over our right shoulder. Feel your tailbone release down, your sternum stretch up. Hold on to all of that. So find a little engagement in your core. Go ahead and stretch this right arm up. So your palm is facing inward. Let's try to exaggerate that. So it's almost like you're trying to spin the palm to face behind you. So you can use your left hand to help you wrap the arm. Bend the elbow. And then just take your left hand on top of that right elbow. Apply a little pressure. And if you don't have a strap, this is just where you're going to stay with the pose. So this works as well. All right. So if you have a strap and you're wanting to go a little deeper, go ahead and extend that left arm off to the side. Do the thumbs down and then start to release that arm down. I like this. It gives you a nice little stretch across the top of the shoulder. And then you're going to bend the elbow. And this is where you can hold onto the strap. Few of us might be able to get fingertips. That's not the end goal. That kind of just depends on how flexible your shoulders are. All right, so if you're in this pose here, you're really reaching that right elbow up towards the ceiling as you press the left shoulder head back. Breath smooth and steady. Standing nice and tall. And let's keep our arms like this. Let's do a little lateral stretch. So deep inhale, root into your feet as you exhale, side bend to the left. And you're probably not going to go terribly far. It's like, where do you focus your attention? The intensity that's happening in the shoulders, or maybe you're feeling that stretch through the right side. Perhaps start to wrap those left ribs up. Good. Inhale, come on up to center. And then release the arms. So just take them kind of at a diagonal and then press the walls away. Fingertips point up towards the ceiling. Notice if the shoulders are in your ears, just release them down. Good. And then curl the fingertips towards your wrists. And just notice where you get a stretch there. Good. Exhale, release. And then go ahead and take your strap to that left shoulder if you have one. A strap, not a shoulder. All right. Stretching this left arm up. And then spinning that left palm to face behind you. Bend the elbow. Reach the fingertips down your back. And then just for a few breaths here, just gently place your right palm on top of that left elbow. Applying a little pressure. For those of us where this is feeling super intense, this is where you stay. If you're wanting to go a little deeper, go ahead and start to stretch your right hand out. So when hand is perpendicular to shoulder, do the thumbs down so that palm spins behind you. And then find this nice kind of slow movement, eventually bending that right elbow. Holding onto the strap, maybe clasping fingertips. Both are good. So right shoulder head presses back as your left elbow reaches. Your tailbone is extending down as your sternum reaches up. So all of these opposite little actions. And those actually really help to anchor us in the pose, but they also help us to find length in the pose. Couple more breaths. All right, so we find that in a diagonal stretch with our arms. And then stretch them perpendicular, make fists with your hands, and then just circle around in your wrists a few times each direction. Good. Exhale, release arms by your side. You can move the strap out of the way. If you have blocks, have them at the top of your mat, just in case we need them. We're going to start to just find a little more flow here. So standing at the top of your mat, finding your mountain pose, your Tadasana, and feel this openness and stretch that we've gotten across our heart. So hopefully feeling a little more open in your shoulders now, a little more open in the thoracic. As you inhale, take your arms up overhead. As you exhale, fold in, pressing evenly into your feet. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep looking forward, bend your knees, plant your palms, take your right foot way back, then your left foot. So here we are in our plank pose, couple of breaths, shoulders over your wrists, gazing forward. So we want to keep the neck nice and long. Use your legs more than you think you can. The work naturally comes into the arms, the sides of the waist. Use the legs a little more. Nice work. Looks good, Neil. Looks good, Annette. Shift forward on your toes, lower to your knees. Exhale, elbows bend, chaturanga pause, and then onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra or upward facing dog. Beautiful work. As you exhale, we pull back, downward facing dog. Make any tiny little adjustments that you need. So spread fingers. Make sure you're gazing between your feet. Second and third toe pointing forward. Stretch those sit bones up towards the ceiling. Feel the inner thigh spiral back. And then just listen to that sound of your breath. Take a couple more breaths here. As you inhale, stay in your downward dog. Come to your tippy toes, find a little bend in your knees. Peek forward between your hands. That's where you're going. You're going to either walk forward or you're going to step right then left. Or you're going to hop both feet through. All good ways to get there. As you inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, fold in. Root down to rise up, finding your extended mountain pose. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhaling, reaching. Exhale, hold on to all of that length as you start to hinge forward and fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms, left foot back this time, then right foot. Full plank chaturanga if you would like, otherwise put your knees down. So as you exhale, shift forward, elbows bend to halfway. You either hover here or you can transition into your upward dog from your chaturanga. So you can do that from the belly or the midway point. As you exhale, downward facing dog. These look really good. Again, just make sure that biceps are lining up, or your ears rather are lining up with your biceps. So that inner arm. Feel the muscle firm to bone here in both the legs and the arms. So your body's really active. Inhale, little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, walk forward, step left and right, hop both feet through. Inhale, chest lengthens, spine long. As you exhale, fold in, neck long. Press down into your feet, take up space as you rise up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Bend your knees, plant your palms, right foot back, then left. Same exhale, shift forward. Maybe come to knees, lower halfway, hover, or all the way down. Inhale into your low cobra or your upward facing dog. As you exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Hips stay even, so that hip likes to open up sometimes. Direct those toes down. Both hips are facing the same direction. As you exhale, you're going to step your right foot through between your hands. You're going to lower onto your left knee. And then slide that left knee back as much as you need to. Maybe have your hands on blocks, especially if that left hip flexor is really, really tight. Big, big muscle groups here. So can be a lot of intensity. Blocks are wonderful. They just make they make the floor a little higher. And are you breathing? So when poses get really intense, sometimes we start to clench the teeth. The breath holds. All right, from here, we're gonna pull back. So now we're gonna get into this right hamstring. So you're gonna begin to straighten that front leg any amount, and blocks can be really nice. Your upper body might be pretty upright. For those of us that are a little more flexible here, you can start to forward fold a little bit, but I want you to think a little back bend in the thoracic. Also, the more you point these toes up towards the ceiling, the more you're gonna start to feel it. And then finally, you're also drawing your right hip back as your left hip comes forward. So there's a scissoring action happening in your legs. And you say, hello, hamstring here, because this is an intense one. And again, sometimes that can shift, coming out of the weekend, a lot of us, do some physical activity, walks and hikes and different things. So it's important to note that our bodies always feel a little different. We're gonna rock forward here, hands come up to that right thigh. So kind of just like a modified, almost crescent pose. Let's make it a full crescent pose. As you inhale, stretch your arms up overhead. Good, and then you might feel like you're on a tightrope here. If that's you, walk that right foot off to the right. So legs are about hips distance apart. And then let's make fists with our hands. Good, as you exhale, pull down. Try to squeeze those elbows in towards each other. Inhale, press up like you're moving through tar or something. As you exhale, feel that stretch, that openness across your heart. Inhale, press up. Great work. As you exhale, pull down. Nice, nice, nice. As you inhale, reach up. Release your fist. Bring your right fingertips to your left wrist. Squeeze hips in towards each other a lot, and then start to lean off to the right. Feel shoulder blades release down your back. Maybe you start to gaze up underneath that left arm. These look lovely. All right, we inhale, come back up to center. Crescent pose, definitely a balance pose. Let's exhale, release our hands down. So palms plant, curl your left toes under, and we're gonna find our full crescent pose. So make sure that you're not laying on your belly. Let's just give this a little juice here. So take your arms out wide like airplane wings. Yeah. And then bring them forward. So a little core here. And then go ahead and start to peel your chest up. Find your full crescent pose. Fire up that back leg. You can bend the knee a little bit, especially if that helps you to release your tailbone down. These look great. Finally, maybe bring your gaze up, press palms. And then as you exhale, hands plant. So your option here, you either step back to downward facing dog if you'd like a little more heat. Keep your gaze forward. Step your right foot to meet your left foot. Take an inhale. Exhale, shift forward on toes, maybe come to knees, lower halfway, hover, or all the way down. Inhale into your low cobra or your upward facing dog. Nice work. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, inhale, left leg lifts, hips stay even, so squeeze the outer hips in towards each other. Make sure that those left toes are pointing down towards the floor. And then exhale, empty out, look where you're going. Just step that left foot through between your hands. And I should note that that is actually not an easy move to get. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you're newer to yoga, if your foot didn't quite make it, that's okay. You just pick it up and move it. And then you land on your right knee. And we say, hello hip flexor, hello quadricep on the right side. Just noticing what's going on, noticing how it feels different on this side in your body, if it feels different. And then check in with your breath again. So just notice if you've lost the thread of your breath. If you have, bring your attention there. Okay, we're going to start to pull back. So again, maybe you take your blocks with you. Getting into this left hamstring, left hip back, right hip forward. The more you point these toes up towards the ceiling, the more you're gonna feel that, so flexion in the foot. If you are on the flexible side and you're folding forward, again, try to keep lots of length through the sides of your waist and in your spine. And if this is super intense, a little bend in the knee helps, a little smile helps, a little self-pep talk. One day, things are gonna open up. Sometimes it's a really slow process, but the more you do this, the easier it does get. All right, so rocking forward here, hands come up to that left thigh. So we're not quite in our crescent pose, but we're moving in that direction. Make sure you feel really steady. So maybe you need to walk that left foot off to the left and then direct your tailbone down. Feel your sternum reach up. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Good, and then let's take our arms into cactus shape. So hinging at the elbow, palms face forward, deep inhale. Feel the shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other. It's like you're trying to hold on to a pencil between your shoulder blades. Exhale, and that feeling of moving through molasses, press elbows in towards each other. Inhale, open up. So just some little chest flies here. Exhale, press in. Lovely work, everybody, beautiful. Inhale, open up. Exhale, press in. Good, inhale, open up and then stretch the arms up here. Gaze up, maybe press palms together. Maybe get a little wobbly, that's cool, I am. All right, as we exhale, hands come down. So they plant on either side of that left foot. Curl those right toes under, so get that leg so strong. Sternum stretches forward as your tailbone reaches back. Make sure you're not laying your belly down on that left thigh. So you're engaging your core a little bit. Take your arms out wide like airplane wings. This is like, I always call this Rose on the Titanic pose. Then reach your arms forward. So a little intensity here. Enjoy it, love it. And then keep your back leg really strong. Start to peel up. Beautiful, Neil. Couple of breaths, baby. Begin to bring your gaze up, pressing your palms together. And then as you exhale, hands come down. So again, your option, if you're feeling like you've had enough heat, you simply step back to your downward facing dog. Otherwise, you step your left foot back to meet your right. Take an inhale in your plank pose. Exhale, shift forward, lower halfway. Hover or all the way down. Inhale into your low cobra or your upward facing dog. And then as we exhale, we pull back, downward facing dog. Quick little child's pose here. So lands on your knees, big toes together, knees wide, melt your hips back, stretch the sides of your waist forward, reach your arms forward. Let everything slow down. So come back to that rhythm of your breath. And find a little twist here. So start to walk your arms off to the right. Laying your belly out over that left thigh, spinning those left ribs towards that right leg. And then we walk back to center. And off to the left. Good, arms will walk back to center. Inhale, roll up. All right. Let's rock back to our tabletop position. Walk your hands forward. Curl your toes under. Downward facing dog. All right, so just one final little standing sequence here. As you inhale, right leg lifts, hips stay even. Exhale, step that foot through between your hands. All right, so this time we're gonna walk that foot off to the left twice. So heel toe it twice. Spin into the back edge of your left foot. So the right heel is intersecting your left arch. We're opening up into our Virabhadrasana 2. And actually, go ahead and grab your strap here and just place it over. Just place it over your neck, actually, will probably be the best thing. Let's inhale up and over. into our warrior two. All right, so just take a breath or two here, gazing out over your right fingertips. Feel your shoulder blades releasing down, tailbone releases down. And then we're gonna come into our arms again. So you can move that strap over the right shoulder, stretch the right arm up. Good, spin the palms to face behind you, bend the elbow. Then left arm out, spin the palms face behind you, come on down. Good, so grabbing the strap or fingertips, sink in a little deeper into that front leg. If the knee starts to track over your ankles, just give yourself a little more width in your stance. All right, so as we inhale, we're gonna start to straighten that front leg. Feel the inner thigh wrap towards the outer thigh in that right leg, but feel this left hip release down. And then notice all this length that you have on the right side starts to hinge at that right hip. So we're gonna kind of come into a funky little triangle pose. So you're not gonna go very far, especially with the arms like this. See if you can roll the right ribs up, press the left shoulder head back a little bit. So in addition to getting into the shoulders here, we're also feeling this deep in that hip. I'm feeling it in the right groin. Are you breathing? You might want to curse at me for this pose. That's cool. You're all on mute. Drop an F-bomb if you need to. All right, here we go. Inhale. Come upright. Good. Release the arms. Oh. As you exhale, bend that right knee and then take arms up and over. All right. So again, Chaturanga Vinyasa if you'd like. Maybe you just pull back to downward facing dog. So you listen to what it is you need. You practice mindfully. These Chaturangas especially, you know, enough is enough. One more is not gonna change your life. All right, so left side. As you inhale, lift that left leg, hips stay even. Exhale, belly helps step that foot through. You can grab the strap again, just get it around your neck. Heel toe, left foot to the right twice. Spin into the back edge of your right foot. So your left heel is intersecting that arch. Deep bend in this left knee. Virabhadrasana 2 is this big standing hip opener. Inhale, come in to your warrior two. Few breaths here, just gazing out over your left fingertips, feeling the shoulder blades release down your back. All right, and then bring your gaze forward and your torso is facing forward, even though we're getting this big leg stretch. So that strap goes over that left shoulder. Reach that left arm up. Spin the pinky to face behind you. Bend the elbow. And then right arm reaches out. Do the thumbs down sign. Take your time. I love just moving slow so I can get that stretch in the top of the right shoulder. Holding onto the strap here. So tailbone lengthening down, pressing to the inner edge of your left foot. Right shoulder head presses back as your left elbow lifts. Breath smooth and steady. Ooh, smile, even though this is not easy. And then we begin to press to the inner edge of our left foot. Inhale. And then you're going to start to hinge at that left hip crease. See how long you are here on that left side. Hold on to that as you start to come on in. You're not going to go as deep as you would in a classic triangle pose. You're going to be feeling this in the shoulder, especially that right shoulder. So keep pressing that right shoulder, head back. You're going to be feeling this deep in that left groin, getting a little, perhaps kind of stretch, lower right back. And you could be feeling this in a lot of other places as well. Good. As we inhale, we rise up. Oh, release. Exhale, bend your left knee, take your arms out wide. Windmill arms up and over. Final Chaturanga Vinyasa if you want it. Otherwise, you pull back to your downward facing dog. Good. And then from here, from your downward facing dog, we're gonna make our way to seated, so you could hop your feet forward or just come to seated. But we're Going to come into our Sukhasana. We're going to take our right shin in front of our left shin. If it's hard to sit tall here, you're going to sit up on a blanket or some blocks. We're going to find a nice little hip stretch. So just a nice forward fold, root into your sit bones. Take your arms out and up. And then as you exhale, keep your spine nice and long. So I'm going to do the side view here. Yeah, that's it exactly. And then you're going to rest your hands wherever they need to be so that you can keep your spine pretty long. So they could even be on blocks. A few of us might be able to get in a little deeper. So you could be resting your head, your forehead on fists stacked on top of each other. You could use a block underneath your forehead. You don't want to have any sensation in the knees here. So if you are, especially that right knee, just make sure that you're flexing this right foot a little bit. Consciously shifting your breath at this point of the practice here. You're letting the inhale get a little longer. You're letting the exhale get a little longer. It can be helpful to count the breath, both to find that symmetry of the inhale and the exhale, but also to give the brain a little something to chew on. For a lot of us, it's easier to get into that sweet spot when we're flowing through poses. Sometimes when we come into these challenging static poses, the chatter kicks up. If that's you, know that you're pretty normal. But do your best to just listen to your breath, to make observations about the physical sensations happening in your body. All right, from here we inhale, roll on up. Good, extend your legs to straight. Give them a little bounce. And then recrossing with the left shin in front. So if you're rounding a lot here, sit up on something. If you can sit tall and press into those sit bones, fine to sit on your mat. Let's inhale, take the arms out wide. Hold on to all of this length, this feeling as you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. So you need not go very deep to feel a pretty intense hip stretch. Just go to that place where you're getting that. If you're a little more flexible, again, you can fold in any amount, resting forehead on your fists or on a block. How is this side different? Good, next inhale, roll up, extend legs to straight. Quick little Paschimottanasana. So toes point up towards the ceiling, you're pressing into the center of your heels. If you know you're really tight in your hamstrings, you're gonna take a strap around your feet. Otherwise you can press down into sit bones, inhale, stretch arms up. And then exhale, think again, lots of length, spine long, fold in. So you might not go very deep at all to feel this. About 4 or 5 breaths here. So not a super long hold, but a nice, long enough to kind of get this sensation. I remember when I was new to yoga, this pose was excruciating for me. It did get easier. All right, we're gonna inhale, roll on up. And we're making our way to our final resting pose. So you're welcome to stay seated in quiet meditation if that feels right for you. Otherwise, you can come into your spine, maybe giving the knees one final little squeeze here, setting up for your Shavasana, whatever that looks like. So tenderness under the lower back, keep the knees bent. Take feet wide, allow knees to knock in towards each other, or you could slide a blanket underneath your knees. Otherwise, classic Shavasana here. And just make sure that there aren't any props touching you. Make any little adjustments that you need to. Can you find a little of that thoracic opening feeling? Could you imagine that you're laying over that blanket or block that we had at the beginning of class? Maybe even snuggle your shoulder blades underneath you. And then just start to melt in here. And just soaking up these final quiet moments. Take a deeper inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. Just bring a little movement back to your body. Wiggle fingers, toes, circle ankles, wrists, reach arms up overhead, stretch out. Good, and then just staying soft and quiet here. You're gonna roll to one side or the other, find the fetal position a moment. And finally, using your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. Good, one final check in here, just observing how you feel differently than when you began. Sending yourself love and gratitude for showing up, for making the effort. And just promising yourself that you're going to carry this good feeling that you've worked so hard to create with you into the rest of your day ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart. Just bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today, yogis. Thank you.